Hey there, Chef Malfi here, and welcome to Plant-Based Made Easy. Today we're going to be making with you a really delicious and easy lunch or dinner recipe, depending on how hungry you are. I'm going to be making mushroom stroganoff today. One of these classic pasta dishes that I think is really delicious. You can actually make this totally a lot healthier and I think more flavorful if you make it plant-based. And today I'm going to be featuring a really cool product, hence my hat, the Only Bean. I'm using the Only Bean today. This is really amazing pasta. It comes from the Only Bean is the brand. And I'm going to be using soybean spaghetti today. It is so delicious, you guys. And I want you to know about this product because I love it. And I'm doing a collab with them. I've been doing it for the last couple of months. As you know, each month I feature a pasta recipe using their pasta, and it's so yummy. So I want to just feature this for a second. And if you have a question along the way about this product, let a sister know. You can type it in the comment box, and I'd love to chat with you about it. But let me tell you about it, all right? So this is one ingredient, just beans, and I think it's fantastic. Now, the pasta that I'm using today is spaghetti, even though this says fettuccine. They come in a lot of different pasta shapes there and a lot of different types of beans. So there's the black bean spaghetti, which we used last month. Actually, we used the black bean fettuccine. There's the soybean spaghetti, and then there's the edamame fettuccine or spaghetti. Today, we're going to be using the edamame spaghetti, and it's really great. It's just edamame. That's the only ingredient. So it's harvested, it's then dried, the edamame beans, and then it's powdered and made into delicious pasta. And it's really great to cook with because it only takes like 3 to 5 minutes in boiling water. So I want to stop and I want to say hello to Kathy. Kathy, I think you've tried this pasta before. What did you think? Did you like the Only Bean? Hi, Alicia, and hi, Jennifer. I want to show you also the back of the box. Now, this is really cool. This tells you why it's a better pasta in all of the different ways. But I really like it because it breaks down protein, fiber, and net carbs. And just so you know, it compares the Only Bean pasta with other types of pasta, like chickpea pasta, even lentil pasta, quinoa pasta, spinach pasta or veggie pasta, and then plain regular wheat pasta. And every single one of those comparisons, the Only Bean pasta actually rates the highest in nutrient value. So it has the highest amount of protein, fiber, and net carbs. It's really good stuff, you guys. So check it out. I want you to try it. If you want this, I'm going to pop a little link to my Amazon storefront so that you can purchase this. It comes 3 in a pack, so you can get one of each of the flavors and pasta shapes, and you can experiment with it. All right, so now let's make some mushroom stroganoff. So super duper simple. I'm going to take a yellow onion here, and I'm going to do a split screen so that you can follow along with me. Slice the top and the bottom off, and then cut it in half. And then remove that outside layer so you get all the skin. These are going to go right into my compost for the worms. My worms are super thriving. They love all this plant material. All right, I'm going to use 1 full onion for this. Here's how I like to dice an onion very quickly. Take your palm, put it over the onion, only 1/2. Take your really sharp chef's knife. And if you're admiring my chef's knife and you want these are also in my Amazon storefront. Just a shout out to Chef's Vision. I absolutely love how gorgeous these are and how sharp they are. So you want really good sharp chef's knife. And I'm going to start by actually going through the onion, but not all the way through, and making a small plank. I'm going to then take my knife out and do it again about 1/4 inch higher. And then again, 1/4 inch higher. All right, now we've made some planks. I'll show you here in the overhead. You can see here, right? Now I want you to turn the onion towards you, and I want you to do it again perpendicular, but don't go all the way through. Making planks. Now go back to the first position. You with me? Yeah, I know you are. I want you to just give it a dice. And at this point, perfectly diced onion in like, what was that, less than 30 seconds? Super easy. Try this. This is really the best way to slice an onion so that you don't sit and cry. It makes it simple. All right, get your pot hot. I'm going to use a little extra virgin olive oil in my pan here. And I'm going to use a big giant pot with a lid because I might actually want to cover this to reduce it and to make it go quicker, just so that I can cook quickly for you. I try to make these episodes as quick and concise as possible. So get some olive oil in here. And if you're whole food plant-based and you can't use olive oil or you're trying to opt out, you can actually use water. And in this case, you can actually save your pasta liquid that you actually cooked your pasta in. And this is pasta water. You can use this to actually saute your veggies. And I'm telling you, this is going to do the trick, because this pasta water is going to actually make your sauce for mushroom stroganoff super saucy and thick and creamy and delicious without the addition of any cream. So try that. I always try to keep a ball jar of the pasta liquid for reheating my pasta, or for adding, or let's see, like lengthening, making more of the sauce if I need, as I have leftovers. All right, so I can always add a little pasta water to my pasta to reheat it, and then it like sort of reconstitutes it. It's a really great trick. All right, this is working hard. I'm going to get to a medium-high heat. Oh, Jennifer, you've tasted the pasta and you really like the taste. I'm really glad that you tried it. That's right. You purchased some, and I think that you said that you did really like it. I'm glad. I'm wondering, which one did you try? The edamame, the black bean, or the soy spaghetti? And Kathy, I can see you too. You liked it as well. I think of the 3 flavors, my favorite is the edamame, because I think it has like a sweeter flavor profile, which I really like. And I like the contrast of the sweet, kind of this very delicate sweet flavor with any sauce. And that just has been working well with the sauces that I've been featuring in my cookbooks. All right, so the onion goes down. Now I want a little bit of garlic. Now the recipe calls for 2 to 3 cloves, you guys, but who actually just uses 2 cloves? If it calls for 2, I usually use 4. If it calls for 4, I usually use 8. I don't know. I'm Italian. What can I say? I'm going to take my chef's knife and I'm going to just do quick slices. You can crush the garlic too if you want in a garlic press. But I kind of like large chunks of this. It's going to stand up to the large chunks of mushrooms that we will add in the stroganoff sauce. So add that. And now I always talk about seasoning as you go. I've added a little bit of onion and garlic. Now I need to add a little S&P. So salt goes down, a little pepper. And this is really just to make sure that everything is kind of sweating out. It's really important to do this. Season as you go, and you're going to get a layer of flavor on everything. And by the end, your sauce is going to be perfectly seasoned. It's much easier to do season as you go as opposed to season at the end, because when you season at the end, you actually might think that it's not getting seasoned. Like if you've ever added salt at the end of making a soup or a stew or a sauce, and you can't taste the salt, it's because it hasn't been like cooked into the ingredients. So if you season as you go, you're going to probably use a little bit less seasoning, and you're going to get a more flavorful product. Okay, that looks great. All right, here's a really great question. Thanks for asking. Penny asked, does the type of onion matter? White, sweet? No, it doesn't really matter. And we're making this totally plant-based, so we're changing the classic version, Penny. But my favorite is the yellow onion, because it's going to give you that really kind of delicate onion flavor. The white onion tends to have more of a bite, and the red onion has the most bite, okay? But the choice is yours. The onion is going to get nice and translucent, so it doesn't matter what kind of onion you use. And if you wanted this even sweeter, you could use a sweet onion, like a Hawaiian sweet. You could even use shallot if you're making a small portion of this, or scallions and green onions. So thanks for the question. I love it. And Jennifer, her favorite flavor of the only bean pasta was the black bean. And if you guys check out the pasta recipe we made in January, it was really great. And I featured the black bean pasta. All right, so I'm gonna let this continue to cook down. And while I do this, I'm gonna make a slurry, okay? So because this is plant-based, we're not gonna use any butter or cream. Mushroom stroganoff classic recipe tends to have butter and cream, but we're gonna actually add umami and creaminess without having to add any dairy products. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a large bowl. I'm gonna do it in my clear bowl here so you can follow along. And to this, I'm gonna add my wet ingredients. So my veggie broth, I'm gonna use about 1.5 cups, soy sauce, and flour, about 3 tablespoons of each. So I'm gonna start with my all-purpose flour, which I have here, right? I would prefer that you use all-purpose flour if you are gluten-free. You can use a gluten-free flour for this. It will work. You could even use cornstarch, corn flour, or arrowroot flour, or arrowroot starch. These are 2 similar names and 2 similar products. One is made from corn, and one is made from arrowroot. And now I'm gonna also use low sodium soy sauce, all right? So I'm using 3 tablespoons of this. You guys know what soy sauce looks like. I'm gonna throw this right in. This is what's gonna give you that edamame flavor that's really delicious. I'm also going to use some hearty veggie broth. Now, I love veggie broth, and if you are looking for veggie broth in the market, opt in for the hearty version. Don't go for anything that's kind of the low sodium. If you can, if you're on a low sodium diet and you need to, absolutely do that and follow what you need to do. But I like the hearty veggie broths because it's going to add a lot of flavor. And I'm going to use about 1.5 cups of this. So I have my measuring cup here. Good time to use your pasta water too if you didn't have veggie broth. Perfect. Throw that right in. Love it. And then give this a nice whisk. So we're making a slurry. We've talked about slurries a lot in past episodes. It's just a technique where you take dry ingredients like corn flour or regular flour or arrowroot starch, and you mix it together with liquid, and you make sure that all of the liquid and the dry ingredient is mixed well. And what you end up with is this nice, delicious slurry. And you definitely want to make your slurry first. You don't want to go in and just add whole wheat or, sorry, all-purpose flour to your onions and soy sauce and all that, because what will happen is that the flour, if you add it right to the hot pan, will just clump up. The soy sauce will just kind of deglaze on the pan, and so will the veggie broth. So you kind of want it to kind of stick together. And this mixture is going to be quite sticky once it hits the heat. All right, I'm going to give these onions just a few seconds more. All right, Jennifer, you can't get that broth where you live, which is Scotland, I do believe. That's okay. If you can't, remember, here's a really great chance to use your pasta liquid. This is really good stuff, and it's going to thicken up your mushroom stroganoff sauce so that you don't actually have to end up using all that much plant milk, and this will kind of thicken it for you. So, or you can use regular water, filtered, I would say. Hi, Sisette. Good to see you. All right, so I have my slurry ready. I just really need to cook this down before I add the rest of the ingredients. I'm going to add my mushrooms now, though. Mushrooms going in. Because I've added another ingredient, I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. Now, I'm using cremini mushrooms, you guys, which are baby portobellos. They look like regular button mushrooms, but they're just a little bit more brown. It's about 2.5 cups or so. I'm going to add a little bit more salt. And this is really important for the mushrooms. When you add salt to mushrooms and eggplant, these are nature's sponges. So what ends up happening is the salt is going to really be absorbed in the mushrooms, and then it will release the water in the mushroom. So you'll end up getting a really kind of nice cooked down mushroom that's delicious. Some of these pieces are really big. Them in half. You can use any mushroom that you want. Button mushroom will work. You can use portobello and just dice it up or slice it up. You can use hen of the woods mushrooms. Have you guys seen all of the great chef's packs of mushrooms in the supermarket? Usually you can find them in like mushroom bulk bins, and they are variety packs of mushrooms. They come with lots of different kinds: creminis, hen of the woods, regular button mushrooms, portobellos, shiitakes. And experiment. Mushrooms are really good, very, very high in antioxidants, super good and high in carbohydrate and fiber. They're fantastic. They're very meaty-like. So this is a great plant-based vegetable to use because it's going to add a nice texture and chewiness to your dishes. Okay, the mushrooms are getting cooked down. They look delicious. I need some water, excuse me. Yum. I'm so thirsty today. I don't know if I ate a lot of salt yesterday or what, but today I'm like gulping, just gulping the waters. Yum. Okay, the mushroom is nice and the mushrooms are getting nice and cooked. The onions are getting nice and cooked as well. All right, now's a good time to add your slurry. Okay, so I have this. You can see. I'm going to show you in the overhead. See how cloudy it gets? That's the flour and the soy sauce and the veggie mixture want to kind of separate. So kind of give it a whisk before the final moment, before you add it to the pan here. And then throw it in. And now it's going to work on getting nice and creamy. That heat is really going to kind of thicken up the slurry that we just created and we just added to this pan. And look at it right now, you guys. I'm going to do a full so you can see. Oops. There we go. This is looking really delicious. It's starting to bubble away. Already, it's starting to bubble and thicken. It hasn't even been on here more than a minute. And now is a really great time. I'm coming back to you. I want to tell you where you can get this recipe. I know you're chomping at the bit. If you've never seen my videos, you guys, I produce and write a new monthly cookbook every single month. And the current cookbook that we're working out of is issue number 7. That's this cookbook right here. And I wanted to show you the inside of this cookbook because it's awesome. So I'm going to add it to the screen. You guys can now see my screen. And I want you to just enjoy this with me. I'm going to show you what this is all about. This cookbook is awesome. Here's the cover page. You're looking at one of the featured recipes. This is the oatmeal cookie smoothie. And then we come to a little letter, a love letter that I write you every month, followed by your weekly recipe key. Now, I do color coordination here, and every cookbook includes breakfasts, lunches, dinners, snacks, sweets, and staple recipes, okay? So all in all, I really use color coordination to help you remember to eat the rainbow, okay? This cookbook is really gonna get you through the month of cooking plant-based. Here is the menu that we've been working through. And right now we are on February 24th making our mushroom stroganoff, you guys. Some of the standouts of this month were the carrot cake pancakes. I have to say that. The black bean and quinoa tacos for shiz. The dill pickle popcorn was a really delicious snack. I ate that for like 3 days. I loved it. And then definitely the mushroom stroganoff, which we're making today. And if I had to add one more from this week's recipes, you must try the crispy Caesar sando. I love making sandwiches every month, but this crispy Caesar sando on the 23rd was fantastic. So it gets you week by week. You have a grocery list. All of these groceries have, some of them have clickable links, so you can actually go right to my Amazon storefront and purchase your ingredients and get them delivered right to your doorstep. And then the recipes, again, all the pages are color coordinated so you know which day you're in. And of course, they're interchangeable. So you can make breakfasts for dinner, you can make dinners for lunches, and so on and so forth. And then on the 6th day of every week, which is your weekend recipe, I'm giving you a staple recipe. These are things like plant-based yogurt, cheese, milk, and even plant-based bread. So you can really save some time. And then a reflection page, journal writing. Hello, I am an integrated nutrition health coach. So I love to get you thinking about what it was that that felt successful to you in cooking all of these delicious recipes throughout the week. So I give you little writing prompts, and I want you to kind of use this to your best ability, kind of just freestyle write and enjoy the process. And then again, it goes through week by week. So just wanted you guys to see this cookbook. I think it's fantastic. I hope that you do too, you guys. And if you want, you can actually purchase this. The link is right there at the top of this show. It is issue number 7 is bit.ly/PBME cookbook 7. So go ahead and download that today. And if you don't want to download the individual, let's say you want a 20% discount, I want you to have that discount. So you can actually subscribe to the monthly cookbook subscription and get a new cookbook delivered to your inbox every single month for only $12 a month. So that's 20% off the regular price of the individual cookbooks. All right, I'm coming back to this mushroom stroganoff. I just want to show you how thick and delicious it is already. Look at this, right? Yum. This is looking fantastic. Okay, at this point, I want to add a few more flavor agents. These are, I always talk about flavor agents. These are ingredients that you're going to add that are really going to make the recipe pop. So in our case today, I'm going to use a little bit of nutritional yeast, about 3 tablespoons. This is going to add a cheesy or creamy element, and it's really going to be super, super yummy. So I'm just going to add that. That's totally optional, but I like it. I also really like it because it adds your daily recommended amount of vitamin B12. And if you are vegan or plant-based like I am, and like most of us here in the Plant-Based Made Easy community are, you really want to make sure you're getting enough vitamin B12 in your diet. Usually that comes from eating animal products, and it's really only because the animal products eat their feed, and their feed in the troughs have dirt on the feed, in the feed. And so when the animals eat the dirt, we then eat the animal meat. well, not me, but I used to. And then once we eat the animal meat, then we're actually consuming the dirt or the vitamin B12 from the dirt, from the feed, from the animal. Isn't that a crazy process? I'm saying all this to you without looking at you. So we can skip all of that and we can help the environment, help our bodies, and help our communities by going plant-based. And people always talk about, oh, I'm going to be vitamin B12 deficient, or I'm going to be protein deficient. It's just not true, all right? And I can help you to see the light on this. There have been extensive peer-reviewed research, confirmed research, scientific study, including the China study, which is the most comprehensive plant-based diet study, that shows that it's actually a wonderful diet. The plant-based diet is good for any age, at any time of life, and it can reverse all chronic illnesses. These are the leading chronic illnesses that are known to kill humans today, including the #1 killer, which is heart disease, okay? So you will get enough of your daily vitamin B12 if you're enjoying plant-rich foods, and if you're enjoying nutritional yeast, which is the best source of vitamin B12, and you only need a little bit, like we're talking a tablespoon per week in order to get your daily recommended value, or you can take a supplement. It's that easy. And then all plant foods contain protein. Now, a lot of meat eaters will refute this and say that's not true, but actually it is true, and you can look that up. So I just want to let you know and dispel the myth that there is protein in all plant foods. And the cool thing about the plant-based diet, I'm going to add a little bit of paprika as I talk, is that you can enjoy the plant-based diet ad libitum. So that means without restriction, okay? You cannot say that about any other diet or lifestyle, okay? Other diets and lifestyle are talking about eating based on a restrictive mentality, whereas plant-based living and eating is ad libitum, where you can eat it without restriction. So your body is really going to ingest way more fiber and probably even more protein if you're enjoying a whole food plant-based diet and eating fresh fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, tubers, and all of that in abundance, okay? So I'm gonna add a little bit paprika here, showing you the overhead. And this paprika is really delicious. I'm gonna use smoked paprika today. I think there's a little onion in here that fell in. Camera, catch it. You got it. All right, cool. So I'm gonna add a little smoked paprika. You can use regular, but I really like smoked paprika. Here's what the container looks like. It's really good stuff. This is going to add a nice smokiness. I'm also going to add a little bit of Dijon mustard, about 2 teaspoons of this. This is going to add a nice spark or a nice zippiness, which I absolutely love, and it's going to be really good for this mushroom stroganoff. And then, as if this weren't thick and creamy already, you can see in the overhead how delicious and thick and creamy it is. You can actually add a little bit more thickness and creaminess by adding some plant milk. So we're going to thin this out just a bit. And we are going to use our plant milk, which I make every week here in my home and on the show. This is plant milk, you guys. I make coconut cashew plant milk that tastes just like regular whole milk. It's actually more like a double cream milk, so it's very creamy. It's really delicious. And I'm going to use a little bit of this in my mushroom stroganoff because it's fantastic, and it's going to add a nice creaminess. You can use as much or as little as you want. Let's say you want this sauce a little thinner, use more of the plant milk. Let's say you want it a little thicker, you can remove the plant milk altogether, or you can actually use a little bit of the pasta water, okay? So there's lots of ways to thicken this up, and there's lots of ways to make it the right consistency for you. I'm coming back here. Now, let me show you the pasta. I've pre-cooked the pasta just so I could be ready and make this super fast recipe. All right, so I have the spaghetti. This is edamame spaghetti right here. Take a look, you guys. Looks like regular pasta, don't it? Really good stuff. This takes literally, it took me 5 minutes to boil this in salted water. It is so good. It tastes like, it's a little bit chewier than regular durum wheat pasta, but it's really yummy. I'm gonna give it a taste. So yummy. If you guys, if you're not into it yet, the only bean is the pasta. This is the edamame fettuccine, but today I'm making the edamame spaghetti. So it's different, it's not soybean, it's edamame, but it's the same pasta shape, and it's really great. All right, so before I add this, I want the sauce to be a little thicker, but I'm gonna make a plant-based Parmesan. This is our final recipe. This is kind of just an extra, all right? So let's make plant-based Parm. Here's how you do it. You can do this in a food processor, or you can do it right here in a mortar and pestle. I have a little bit of nutritional yeast, I said that weird, or nooch, and I'm gonna put it in a mortar and pestle here with some walnuts, okay? I'm gonna use about a handful of walnuts. I'm just making a small portion, and this is how you make plant-based Parmesan. It's so good. You can add any flavor agents that you want or just keep it at nooch and walnuts. That's usually how I make it. But today I'm going to make it a little bit more fancy just to match the fanciness of the mushroom stroganoff. And I added a little bit of garlic powder. Now I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to try to grind this together with my mortar and pestle. I love this mushroom stroganoff recipe. Whenever I make this, I think of like Russia. I think of the movie Anastasia. Do you guys remember that movie? That was a cartoon. I think 20th Century Fox produced it back when I was a kid. Oh, God, I love that movie. I loved it because they had, what's that song? Heart Don't Fail Me Now. That song. Yes, I remember everything. Oh, but that song. So they had that song in the movie. Do you remember that song? Heart Don't Fail Me Now. Courage Don't. Oh, gosh, you guys are with me. Courage don't. I can't remember exactly, but you know what? Then they had the song at the end of the movie, and Miss Aaliyah did the R&B version of that song. And y'all, I was like, oh my God, this movie just became 100,000 times better. Thank you, Miss Aaliyah. She died in a plane crash back in the Dizzy in the 90s. But man, that was a good movie. I love that. I love that movie. All right, so I'm just grinding this up. And you can actually make this really kind of thick and coarse, kind of like, you know, coarse Parmesan. And Parmesan cheese is like, has lots of different textures and lots of different varieties that you can get in market if it's made from real cow's milk. So I'm going to mimic that with my walnuts. You can use, walnuts are the best because they're the softest of the nuts. But you can use cashews, you can use almonds, although those are more flavorful and they're not as soft. So you're never going to get a consistency like this. So I really like the walnuts. They kind of pound out really nice. And then that's it. You have this beautiful plant-based parm. Okay, I'm going to show you in the overhead cam. You guys, this stuff is so good. Doesn't it look like Parmesan cheese? Albeit a little bit more yellow, but really yummy. All right, so I'm going to make sure I have everything in here. I do. I'm going to now add my pasta right to my mushroom stroganoff sauce. And I have to switch now. I need to go to my tongs. Make sure you have heat-resistant tongs. Those are going to be your friends in the kitchen. And then just give this a mix in the sauce. Let it bathe up in this thick and creamy sauce. Oh my gosh, yum. I wish you were here. I wish you were smelling this with me. Seriously? Oh, yum. You guys, I'm cooking for one these days, and so I have a lot of leftovers in my house. Okay, this looks really great. It's perfect. I'm going to clear the decks. There's one other thing. I want something green, so I'm going to just add a little bit of parsley. And I want to tell you, this is how I hold my parsley. You guys, I've had this parsley in my refrigerator for 6 weeks, all right? You don't believe me? Ask my friend who came to stay with me and visit with me. This has been there since I had a visitor. This has stayed green and vibrant all that time. I store it in a glass container with a little bit of water. I keep it wrapped in a rubber band, and then I keep a little plastic bag over the top, and this is how it keeps nice and vibrant and green. I'm going to take my kitchen shears. I'm going to grab a little bit of this parsley, and this is going to be used for garnish. I'm telling you, this trick is the best. Give this a quick mince with your chef's knife. And you want a little bit of green on the top of this pasta. I'm telling you, it's going to make it pop because the mushroom stroganoff is brown. So you definitely want to eat with your eyes first. You need something to entice your palate, and contrasting colors are the thing that is going to do that. Now it's time to plate. So let me grab a little bowl here. I have one. I'm going to turn off my heat. And I'm going for a pretty good portion. This is dripping with, oh, this delicious sauce. This looks so yummy, so mushroomy, so oniony, so creamy. Oh, I love it. Thank you, Only Bean. I appreciate you letting me feature this product. It's so fun to feature your products. I love it because they're easy to use, they're easy to cook, and they're so high in protein, and I love it. All right, I'm going to add just a little bit of plant-based Parmesan. I'm going to do a split screen so that you can see me do it. Grab some with your fingers here, all over the top. That looks great. I think I need a little bit more. Perfect. A little bit of green. Oh my gosh, yum. You guys, mushroom stroganoff served. I am so excited to dive into this. Here we go. Before I do, I want to give this food a little gratitude. Thank you, food. Thank you, Only Bean. I'm so grateful. All right. Gonna make a perfect bite. Mushroom, pasta, perfect bite. Seriously, come on. I don't know what to tell you, but you have to make this recipe. Seriously, slam dunk, D. Come on, D Money. Yes, Chef D Malfi. This was good, you guys. And the best part is that it's creamy and smoky from that smoked paprika. Oh my gosh, I'm like speaking with my mouth full. That's how good it is. I love this dish. Yum. Okay, I'm making a little bit more for myself because that's how good it is. You guys try this recipe, and if you try it, please take a photo and pop it into our Facebook group, Plant-Based Made Easy. We are 4,500 people and growing every single day. And give me a like on Facebook at Chef D Malfi and on Instagram at Chef D Malfi, you guys. I really appreciate the support, and please consider downloading this cookbook. This is issue number 7. This has been a really fun recipe book to cook through. I really hope that you enjoy the recipes just as much as I have, and I think that you will. So you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for joining me. Check out The Only Bean, and I will see you next week. Peace.